Well, it is day 3 of our Big Blend Radio Celebrate Music and the Arts Festival. And, Nancy and I are having a good time here in Tampa, Florida. And, it's really cool to showcase musicians and authors and writers. And the thing is, we need to know how to find them. And that is why we're bringing Chip-Schutzman back on the show. He is the president of Miles High Productions. We've worked with Chip over the years, really representing different artists, musical artists, but we're going to talk about social media marketing for musicians today because it's important to get the industry side. And I encourage you to go to his website, mileshighproductions.com. Chip, how are you doing?
I am good. Hello. How are you?
We're doing good. It's like been a while. Like last time you were on the show, we were playing World Radio Party, and you were talking about travel, and we did music. But yeah, it's a little different now, huh?
Yeah, that was a different world ago. We were in different times then, but yeah, we're still kind of helping artists, and not much has changed on that front. But yeah, our world has changed since you and I have last talked.
Yeah. And I remember an email Nancy and I we were in 29 Palms just outside Joshua Tree, and you're like, well, I'm in Palm Desert. And then all of a sudden we were all sheltered in place. And we're like, oh, we can't really meet, can we? And we wanted to meet you in person and hang out.
Yeah,
because
we're
it's Chip.
So close, but yet so far, far away, as the song goes. Yes.
Yeah. No kidding.
But hopefully life will present another opportunity for us when the coast is clear to actually be able to shake your hand or give you a hug in person.
Can we have cocktails? Nancy, don't you think we should have cocktails with Chip? Oh, cannot hear Nancy. She disappeared. Wait, hold on. I got to get Nancy back. Nancy, are you there? She keeps dropping away.
I'm here.
Oh,
she's making a cocktail.
She heard the word cocktail.
And I'm up. I'm ready.
I'm
down.
I think she was making some margaritas for us.
Exactly.
Oh, we wouldn't be able to talk if that was true. But no, but listen, this is so cool. When you think about, we have to change and everything. Musicians have had to change what's going on, and I know a lot of creativity is going on in the world right now and I know a lot of musicians are just like, listen, let me out. I really don't care anymore. Let me out. But musicians are now doing a lot of live streams and doing more on social media than we've ever seen before. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing in that regard when it comes to social media live stream. Are you helping musicians?
Oh, absolutely. I've been helping musicians in one way or another for about 35, 40 years now. Started in radio with doing airplay and supporting them that way, and then got into the news network and was supporting music through television on CBS this morning, and then got into the live music consortium through House of Blues, and then did a quick stint with Microsoft, and now I'm doing Miles High Productions. I've been doing this now, gosh, where does 18 years go? It flies by very quickly. And when we originally started as a marketing PR firm, and we're helping artists that way through online publicity. And we were actually doing social media way before social media even started. I mean, even before the MySpace days, there was social media entities out there on the web, and they were more in the form of a chat room, because you were being able to type a response to someone and then within a minute get that response back. So there was that engagement that was going on back even in the America Online days, if you remember, like 1996 to 2002. I think those were the big years of chat rooms, let's say. We've been doing social media since 2004 with the MySpace days. We were, I think, one of the first marketing companies in the United States to actually use MySpace as a marketing platform for artists. really got into it early. We got into the Twitter world pretty early, before it actually became more mainstream. And we were involved with Facebook as soon as it became public to the, away from college students and things like that, away from the walled garden that they had originally had created Facebook for, was originally designed for college students. And they opened that up to a larger audience back in 2008, I want to say, 2009, I believe, is when Facebook, I'm getting my socials all mixed up here.
Oh, God,
where
it's so easy.
It's so easy. I mean, nowadays there's Instagram, there's TikTok these days, which is the new phenomenon that seems to be taking place with a lot of younger people. So I think we look at the social media channels, platforms, whatever you want to call them, depending on what your genre is, depending on your age, depending on what your demographic is that you're looking, that you would feel your music or your product would be most well received by, I think is the way that we look at the social media platforms in terms of strategy, in terms of how we design a voice. I was listening to your conversation earlier with Ellen, and it was very spot on in terms of, artists. Sometimes you would expect an artist to know how to do social media because they know how to write a song. Artists are storytellers. They know when it comes to a song, there's a beginning, there's a middle, there's an end. But what artists sometimes forget, that could be so plain as day, easy for you or I, might be something like a Michelangelo painting for them, meaning it's nothing that they've ever imagined putting together, which is putting together that storytelling approach on social media. And it takes a certain artist to get out of their own bubble to try and understand what is it that your fans would like to see or hear about you aside from the music. And so when I tell artists, social media is just that. It's being social. There's this deer in headlight look that they give me sometimes. And I'm like...
See, Nancy was like that with us. Okay, I'm just saying, she's laughing right now. But it's a real truth. Funny. It's like, no, we sent a newsletter. I'm like, no, we have to, because we had I did Twitter first, and we had people emailing through our newsletter saying, will you please do Facebook? And that I had to do it. And, we did all that. But I find it interesting, like even our next guest, Dino Jag in Australia, he embraced social media to do his next single, and he released a single as a video through Facebook. He was like, you know what, we're in a different time. Let's do something different. So it's always changing, Chip. So like you were talking about, you think about MySpace, Facebook, TikTok now, how for a musician or anybody in the arts, when they're trying to focus on their craft and making money with it, by the way, how do they keep up with what they're supposed to do next that fits their style? Because some people may be or may not,
Yes, depending on what their style is actually definition by would probably be the correct answer. And there is no right or wrong way, I think, when it comes down to it. If you're generalizing, let's say, the musician audience out there in the world, an artist that releases, I have an artist, a smooth jazz fusion artist, and they only release an album once every 10 years. And they just released their third album. So they've been around for 30 years. And they just don't do anything on social media. But we basically developed their platform for them from scratch. And, we built over a couple thousand fans in the last 3 months we've been working with them. So they seem to be very happy with what we're doing. They have engagement. They have actual fans that are responding and saying, hey, I like this song. And we're giving all this information to the radio promoter. And next thing we know, they're one of Billboard's top most added artists on the jazz playlist. So, and I think it's a lot having to do with what we're doing on Spotify to what we're doing on Facebook to what we're doing on Instagram. I believe those three platforms in a generalized sense are great platforms for any artist to have a minimal, basic profile and a presence on. I feel strongly about that.
Yeah.
But there's a part of artists that they're within their own personality that, like, I'll go from a painter side again. We paint, so you can look at the picture. Doesn't necessarily mean we want to have a conversation about it. That's why we do it that way. Like a comedian is on stage because they want to be on stage. A painter, maybe not. A writer, maybe not. So a musician, yeah, they want to be on stage. So there's different personalities involved in the arts, and then along comes social media, and then some people will tell everything about everything that maybe other people really don't care about, or they do. Well, I mean, I really don't care that you cut up carrots for your 2-year-old. Sorry, but
Oh, come on.
no, no, you know what I'm saying. Some people tell every detail. Other people only go in there when they have to, because it's so new to tell everything to everybody across the world. In a way, it's kind of like, really?
Yes, that's kind of why we have some of the problems that we have with social media. I really feel the governments of every country around the world should have institutionalized a class for students in elementary school of how to reply business-like to an email, to how to deal with someone that has a differing opinion than you on social media. How do you go about, not sounding overly opinionated? And I had an artist who really did not like things that were going on in our government, but yet his music was speaking to people that are for the other side, per se.
See?
So, trying to teach that artist to keep his personal thoughts in his mind, as opposed to spilling it out on social media, would actually help him to sell more records or more CDs. And
so that's like a business plan. Yeah, that's hard. The business plan, that's kind of like it, and I think that's hard. It's like it's sitting down. When you look at social media, it's like that is another creative process. That's why I brought up Dino coming on next, because he's like, I'm always in there with my fans and creative and going, and I'm not going to stop. How can I keep going? And I see a lot of musicians do that, and you've got to sit down and know, this is who I am, this is how I can connect, this is what I'm not allowed to do or say. You know what I mean? You can have your own personal things, but I think it's important to have someone on your side with this. It's hard. Social media, it's like, how many times a day should you post, and what time of day should you post, and all of this, like, people are selling calendars of what you should do, and it's like, and I actually, I like your approach, because I feel like a musician can knock on your door and say, listen, I got this album coming up, this song, and I'm trying to tour, or not tour at this point, maybe virtually tour, and that you could sit and work with them of like, hey, you don't have to do all that. Maybe you just need this, or you could split the duties, right? Do you do that? Do you split duties so the artist doesn't even have to do it, that somebody else is helping them?
Yes, I tend to have an interview when we first start working with artists, usually within the first day or second day of starting. And it's really a profiling call. It's to understand what we're allowed to do, what we're not allowed to do, what the artist really wants to keep control of, what maybe we might be able to serve as an advisor as opposed to actually executing the work. So sometimes we're being brought on to come up with a bunch of different ideas, and the artist may pick one of those and go through them. Sometimes it's really difficult going into a social media campaign with a brand new artist that you just had your first call with last week, because all of a sudden next week you have to start learning how to talk like them. You have to know what their slang is. You have to know what hashtags they want to use. You've got to know where they bend on certain issues and where they are very stringent on other issues, and what their beliefs are. And so I look at a very easy way for everyone listening in right now. What is social media when it comes to an artist and a campaign? For me, it's like going into a room and seeing 1,000 puzzle pieces on the floor, and the client is saying, okay, here's my social media, piece it together.
Mm-hmm. I get
and
that.
It really is like putting together a 1,000-piece puzzle. Sometimes the parts that you need are right there, and they're easy to find, and some of them you're looking at it several times over and saying, this just isn't a right fit right now. This needs to just, I need to put this puzzle piece over to the side and come back to it later. And maybe it comes more into light when you have other pieces of the puzzle already fragmented into the piece there. So, I do look at social media that way with artists. Sometimes we look at ourselves as cloning the artist or mimicking the artist to our best abilities in a complementary manner, a very broad strokes manner at first. I always tell clients, when we send you our first calendar, a draft, you got to know this is the worst job we're ever going to do with you, because we haven't gotten to know you yet. In 2 more weeks, I might glean a little more information from you, because we would have had a couple conference calls. We would have gotten some new photos and videos from you that will show me how you're talking, that we'll be able to kind of see. Maybe I'll do more extensive background work on their YouTube videos that they posted maybe 2 years ago to see, okay, is what their brand messaging 2 years ago, is it very synonymous with today? Could that video still be posted up today and still be relevant? So I'm looking for consistencies with the artists. I'm looking for, maybe they changed their genre or their style of music since their last album. So maybe they're looking to attract an extended demographic. Maybe they were country and blues last album. This time they're country and rock. So there's a slightly different crowd, but it's not exactly the same crowd as the last crowd that they marketed their album 2 years ago. So
and the demographics. That's really important, because it's interesting, just doing so many interviews with musicians over the years. Nancy and I geek out on the music, right? And we're like, oh man, this song made me feel this, that, whatever. And then, people are like, you shouldn't have an opinion. We're like, well, sorry, we have to have one. We are that. We're opinionated.
It's your show.
Yes,
exactly.
We will be who we are. And that's that.
Yeah.
And so it's like once every 100 interviews, you get someone who does that. And you go, well, whatever. And musicians normally are pretty cool. They're like, oh, they got it. They actually got to talk on our show. They had their moments. And then here's the deal. It's like most musicians I know, like, unless they're like truly like, I am a country musician, I'm old school country, or I'm only blues, the musicians really don't want to be put into a market. Have you found that?
Oh yeah, I have the fair share of artists that say, I don't belong in a box. Don't put me in a box.
Oh, for sure.
I do.
Don't
I
pigeonhole.
don't sound
And I
like
agree
Adele.
with it. I'm sorry, because music is art, right? Don't do it, but then you can't market it without that, right?
And I try to hint that to them to say, well, I'm not trying to put you in a box. I'm trying to figure out how to do the best job that I can for you by targeting your audience. Do you want me to target Adele or Katy Perry fans? Do you want me to target Josh Groban fans?
Mm-hmm.
Do you consider yourself to be the next Led Zeppelin? Well, let me take a listen here and let me see, would Led Zeppelin fans be apt to respond favorably to this? Because the last thing I would want to do is target Led Zeppelin fans and have a barrage or an army of haters coming onto my artist page saying, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
This isn't Stairway to Heaven.
This is the way I look at it. You go into a supermarket and there's no shelves and there's no aisles. There's just a big pile of stuff thrown on the floor. Here's all your canned goods, your fresh meat, all of it, even flowers. It's all thrown there. Go find your stuff. It's either that or you get aisles and shelves.
Where there's a place for everything, or
exactly. So if you want to find something you like, it's a lot easier if there's aisles and shelves. If there's not, and nobody wants to be categorized, which I totally get on some plane in my mind, but how are people going to find you if you can't be put somewhere?
Yes, I think they feel that their music will speak volumes to cut above the clutter there. And I have to explain to them that social media has millions of layers of clutter that are involved there. So, it's not cutting a tree in the forest and no one hears it. It's cutting a tree as if the world was a forest, and you're in the redwoods. No one in India is going to hear that tree chopped down. Yeah.
So wow. So social media, like now, it's basically saving the music industry right now. I mean, it became the venue versus bars and restaurants and big concert halls. And I mean, I know you were part of tour managing for Heart and all of these amazing bands. You've done so much over your career, Chip. It's amazing. And back when I wasn't hacked on Facebook, I'm totally banned on Facebook right now, by the way. I've been disabled, just so you know, from using promo.com got hacked. I'm just going to put that out there. They got hacked, so everybody
Thanks, Promo.
just know. And I got hacked while we were traveling on my email. I was even banned from our own websites, but we could fix that with our hosting company immediately. Because I'm traveling, checking it on my phone, on all my different Instagram, Twitter, Facebooks, whatever. And so don't always have the same password. And some of these old passwords were old passwords from way back years ago, right?
Yeah,
dumb. So you
dumb,
do need a social media
dumber.
manager that would not let you do this. So I'm moving from one place to the other on my phone. I got hacked, and I'm completely disabled on Facebook, personal, business. My groups are there, but I can't manage the groups. My business Instagrams are there, but not my personal. So I'm lost. I'm lost without it. Not really.
She's in cyberspace.
Actually, kind of nice to take a break, but it's kind of interesting. I miss that because the social media really did become the new venue for musicians, and it's more accessible. Like I love YouTube because you can watch concerts of musicians like James Brown and
cool.
people I didn't get to see. I can do that. And you've traveled and done these big arenas and all of that. And I know it's not the same as going to see a Rolling Stones concert. Like I still need to do that, please let me have that happen in my lifetime. But social media in a way right now, I believe, has become the new venue. And musicians that I've talked to doing all these live streams have actually had more of a relationship with their fans right now with what's going on.
They have access to have the capability to have that direct communication with their fans. I mean, when I started doing fan clubs or developing fan clubs for Jewel or Heart way back in the day. I mean, I started Heart's fan club probably in 2001. You find the community and you find what it is that they want? What would make them happy? Obviously, the number one answer always was meeting the artist, having that connection, understanding what the artist likes, things that, certain people that were raised in the 70s and 80s, they were only trained or molded into hearing 4 radio stations or 3 or 4 television networks that would funnel the news information to them. With social media and the internet, you have 1,000 different outlets to choose from these days of where you want to consume your news, how you want to consume your music, how do you want to discover your music. So, younger people today have much more of I call it the splinter effect. They don't have a limited amount of stations or television. They have Spotify, they have Pandora, they have the terrestrial radio stations they do, but they have Facebook now, they have Twitter now, they have they used to have Vine, that went away. TikTok is the new kid on the block these days, and that's doing very well for music discovery, new songs. Kate McKinnon and Elizabeth Warren did a funny TikTok, and it went viral, and it was right before they went on to do their Saturday Night Live skit, and it was a Drake song, and that Drake song skyrocketed the following week on sales as a result of a TikTok 10-second video because of the beat of that song. So that's where we've seen new successes. That's not something Drake would have had success with, let's say, 10 years ago, because the model didn't exist then. So I think it's a matter of keeping up with the developments of how social media is evolving and how artists can stay relevant with being unique and what gives their message out there that either someone can resonate with or that stands them so uniquely apart from the other million artists that people are going to want to find more curiosity to dig into that artist.
You're so smart. You're so smart, Chip. Let's call him Smart Chip. But you've studied it and you teach it and you've been around the block with it and done it, like the fan clubs and everything. It's like that is what social media is now. And it's like with musicians, some can have the personal contact, but there's also like the crazy fandom where people they want, you know what I mean? That they really want to have their personal conversation with that musician, Yeah. And it's like, you're not going to disturb their dinner hour. They do have a family.
That's what a newsletter is for the musician to be able to speak back to them in a volume drove like that. I mean, I always tell all my clients, do not ever underestimate the power of newsletter marketing. It is, so what if you only have 30 signups right now? What next year? Make a goal of having 150 signups, and the year after that, 500 signups. So, it's a work in progress. There is no right or wrong. You shouldn't beat yourself up because you only have a dozen signups. It's how do you use those 12 signups or 30 signups? What kind of message do you want to put out there? I had an artist put out a newsletter every 5 days. I said, will you cut that out?
Yeah, stop it.
Yeah.
Rule number one: no more than one, if maybe 2 newsletters a month. But you have to put yourself in the receiving end of that. Would you want to receive 5 newsletters of?
No.
It's what you were saying earlier about people posting too much. I call it the TMI effect. It's just they don't know what to post, so they post everything. So the same thing with newsletters. You have to figure out how do you want to curate that content, and it's like a painting. You want to start with a brush, and you want to figure out how to put a beginning to this, how to put a middle to this, how to put an end to this. And for me, every single social media post or a monthly calendar is doing that same effect. It's leading up to a single release or a video release. If I was putting on my marketing promo hat, okay, I've got 5 posts over the next 2 weeks about promo. It's way too salesy here. We need to even this out and put, time with the kids, a walk in the woods, my favorite outdoor national park. What kinds of things aside from music? Because in these days, in 2020, it used to be people would buy music because of the music. In 2020, people are buying music because they feel like they have this relationship with the artist.
Yeah, but that's cool. It's cool.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it's both ways are cool, and I think you have to really enjoy the music to want the relationship with the artist, right? And social media did that. That social media and the fan clubs that you were part of, it's all your fault, Chip. Just kidding. But you know what I mean? That is part of it because you're listening to it, you're purchasing it. You want to, we've had this kind of like almost ongoing argument about you could love the music and then the musician does something totally against what you believe in. Are you going to still listen to the song? Like, I'm sorry, Ted Nugent, you're out in my books forever in my life. There's no way. I don't care about your music because of what you do to animals and parks and politics. You're never going to be there. That's my personal thing, and that's that. So, is it right or wrong? I don't care. Maybe it's okay because I don't really care about his music that much anyway. But that's important. Like, sorry, but we're at that level now.
No, I felt that same way just 3 hours ago, seeing Madonna posting conspiracy theories.
Yeah, exactly.
And Annie Lennox is saying, "Good God, have you lost your mind? I hope and pray you got your account hacked." So you even see artists talking to each other on social media to say, "Woman, have you gone mad?"
Yeah.
So,
hey, listen, Annie Lennox has got a place in my heart forever, no matter what. She's like one of the best singers.
Well, okay, then I'm going to go there and say Madonna so doesn't. Sorry.
No, you can't do that. Don't do that. No. Oh, but Chip, thank you so much. It is always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us, giving some insight, and really rock on, dude. You do amazing work, and it's just a pleasure to be, connected. And we've done things over the years together with, hosting musicians, and it's been a real pleasure. So thank you so much.
Well, thanks for putting on such a great radio show. You have been so wonderful to our artists in the past and probably to our artists in the future. I just want to say I love the mom and daughter team. I love that you guys broadcast from various parts of the country, being an avid traveler, a love of traveling and parks. So thank you both for doing what you do and providing this to the community.
And thank you. And next time we're having margaritas, okay? Nancy will make them, and we'll all be down on the floor afterwards. But
she's got one condition. She's got to make at least 3 pitchers, one for each of us.
Okay,
yes, and not
I'm down
on the rocks.
Okay. I'll make 6.
3 pitchers on the rocks. Here we go.
Yeah, all right. There it is.
Rock on. Take care, Chip.
All right.
Everybody, again,
take care.
MilesHighProductions.com. Go check them out on social media. You'll find them. And Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, all that good stuff. But MilesHighProductions.com. You take care, Chip.
Bye-bye.